So HB 1965 requires that for youth who commit a first-time misdemeanor offense, that they have to be offered diversion to community-based services before they are sent to court involvement. And the reason for that is that court involvement can often be ineffective for low-level crimes. And so this is just putting what is often common practice in our court systems into statute so that it's followed by everybody applying the law. So, diversion is a cost effective, age appropriate intervention for youth. So, it can look a lot of different ways. Sometimes it's a treatment program catered to substance abuse, sometimes it's counseling one on one, sometimes it's group counseling. But basically, it's any non court alternative to solving issues that a young person may have. So, rather than putting them through the court process that may not directly solve an underlying issue and rather punish what's going on, diversion seeks to solve the root of the problem. Also, diversion is a way to cater mental health treatment to youth in their communities, which is way more effective than in a detention or secure facility setting. You're a lot less likely to comply with interventions when you're being forced to do so, which is why diversion is so important. Sometimes states have very specific rules on when diversion is used. The way our legal system for youth treats diversion is that they have exhausted every option, and they have to consider a lot of circumstances before recommending diversion. It's not very clear cut on when cases should be offered diversion and when they should not. And so that can make it difficult to determine when is diversion truly the most effective. So other states have put rules into place similar to requiring diversion for misdemeanor offenses. Kentucky is an example, South Dakota. Those states have required diversion for first-time misdemeanor offenses and have seen a really sizable reduction in the size of their youth justice population. Part of our research at Oklahoma Policy, we published a report called Reimaging Youth Justice in Oklahoma. And part of that research is we found that Black youth and American Indian youth are often overrepresented in our youth justice system. For American Indian youth, that's changed. They're no longer overrepresented in our system due to a lot of different circumstances. But Black youth in 2018 were 2.44 times more likely to be referred to OJA. And that number has changed and increased since 2018. And they're now nearly 3 times as likely to be referred to the youth justice system as white youth. And that's a disparity that worsens as they move through the system. So referrals is like, hey, I need intervention for my young person. Let's get them into services. When they move into adjudication, they're even more likely to be overrepresented. So by requiring diversion for certain offenses, we're hoping to step in front of the decision-making process and say, hey, are we sure that diversion is right for this young person? Or are we sure that court intervention is really going to help this young person? Black youth are just more likely to be adjudicated in our system than white youth in Oklahoma. And so this bill can target that by treating every young person who goes through the system in the same way. So often I refer to involvement in our youth justice system as a failure of every other system to respond to that young person's needs. Often youth justice system involvement is tied to troubles at home, mental health issues. We know that 70% of youth in our juvenile justice system nationwide have a mental health condition. So this is really to give more young people a chance to correct circumstances that are making their life difficult before they are subject to the harmful criminal legal system. This can mean that more access to mental health services is prioritized as we recognize the need for that. But Oklahomans should pay attention to how our youth are treated in the criminal legal system, because that could be your kid. It could be your sister. It could be anybody you know who just falls through the cracks and into the wrong circumstances. So it's very important that we recognize that involvement in the youth justice system is a failure of every other system to respond to that kid's needs. Like, the youth justice system isn't just a set of rules that we all follow. It's made of people who make decisions, and people are capable of bias. So if we do not have rules in place to mitigate racial bias in our criminal legal system, we are going to keep seeing disparities worsen. And we don't want to see overrepresentation of marginalized communities in our criminal legal system, because that's just perpetuating the same problems we've been dealing with as a country forever. We have 36 youth serving agencies in our state, and they serve all counties in Oklahoma, all 77. So even in our most remote rural communities, youth will be able to benefit from these services as long as they're being offered them. Now, these youth service agencies in our state are required to develop services that will cater the needs of their community. So by requiring diversion for first-time misdemeanor offenses, this will impact rural communities by making sure that those kids don't fall through the cracks and are getting the services they need instead of court involvement, which is often more harmful than helpful.